So we're exploring the Griffin. Is there a more classic, outside of the Marauder, outside of the Warhammer, the Battlemaster, the Crusader, is there a more classic Battletech mech? And in reviewing our mechs, we've been making our way through lights. We're about halfway through the mediums. We're at that sweet spot, 55 tons. It gives us some spice. It gives us some bite. We've got enough internal tonnage to now have some good speed, mount some decent armor, take a hit or two, not that we want to get hit, but also start to mount some decent weapons, some redundant weapons, some of the heavier hitting inner sphere type weapons. And the Griffin is a very, very interesting machine in this capacity. And in exploring it, there's this idea where medium mechs are kind of a little bit of everything. They're good for defense. They're good for offense. The specialized roles that we can see with heavies and assaults, not that there aren't jack-of-all-trade heavy and assault mechs, we see with more of that tonnage, we can really get away with specialization. We see that with the riflemen and other support mechs like the longbow or the archer. The Griffin, I find to be very, very interesting as a support sniper type mech, utilizing that flavor, but with speed. Okay, jumping in, 5-8-5. 5 walk, 8 run, 5 jump. You've got some good speed. You've got some good mobility. Speed as in you're going to be able to keep up with any of the medium and heavy mechs and assault mechs in the Lance if you build that way. Speed where combined with the PPC and the LRM-10, we're looking at stock build, means you can push out far enough to seriously threaten annoying light mechs. And push out, what I mean by that, just to sidebar for a moment tactically, you place the mech down on the table and you calculate range. You say, okay, what's the distance of a PPC? You have to push that range out physically by walking, running, or jumping. Of course, terrain might be in the way and other modifiers. So that bubble really expands. What this means is, given the good speed of the Griffin, about half speed of a light type mech, combined with the range of the PPC and the LRM-10, you could fire off some shots. You might need a higher combination to hit, but if I'm running around in my bug mech, do I want to get soaked with a PPC? Do I want to get hit with an LRM-10? Not really, not necessarily. Tactically speaking, we have 2 weapons that are keyed in for long range. Now, the challenge here is as you get closer, there are going to be minimums. So we do want to engage at a very, very long range with the PPC and the LRM-10. As soon as we're in range, we're going to do that. Naturally, I'm going to want to try and close so I can bring down from long range to medium to short range with my PPC and LRM-10, but I have to be careful that I don't go under that range or my opponent doesn't close that range because we have the minimums. This is where the jump jets of the Griffin really, really come into play, from my opinion. This idea where it's almost like a sniper mech, or it's almost like it's a supporting mech in the Lance, that if things get a little bit spicy, rather than running away, it could stick out. So I will get in a good position, hopefully cover, not really moving, and just soak you, PPC, LRM-10. We could do the indirect. We could, doesn't have the redundancy. It's only a 10-pack. I prefer a 15 or 20. But tactically, it's in there in your checklist to be able to snipe at you and to shoot at range and then redeploy if things get a little bit crazy or if things start to heat up. And naturally, the weakness of it, again, with the minimums on the PPC and the LRM-10, that is negated because you have the speed and you have the ability to jump, where if something does close and you decide you don't want to go brawl and fist and kick and slam and punch, you can withdraw using the jump jets or jump to another side of the map, maybe over a building or something to that capacity. I find it to be a very, very excellent mech, well keyed, higher than average damage output, very, very focused, and enough supporting armor that you could take a couple of hits. But going back to that opening statement, we're going to do our best not to take any hits.